okay, I'm budgeting spiritually, allergic to money. My wallet echoes when I open it. So, you read the title right. This is not a prop. This is not a prank. This is a camera. Modern cameras cost anywhere from $500 to $3,000, and that's before the lens, accessories, and emotional support you need after buying one. So instead of doing that, I decided to do what any financially intelligent adult would do. I built one myself. And yes, I took pictures with it too. These are pinhole cameras, one of the oldest photographic designs ever invented, from a time where they didn't have autofocus, Instagram, or happiness. A pinhole camera is basically photography on hard mode. There's no lens, no screen, no zoom, and no second chances. But that's just it. It can be made from pretty much anything. A pinhole camera, or a camera obscura if you're feeling posh, is basically a box, a hole, and something to catch the image. Obviously, in this case, it's photographic paper. You need a small, sharp hole. The smaller the hole, the sharper the image, but also means longer exposure. If the hole is too big, it creates a blurry mess, and if it's really small, you get nothing at all. Basically, light enters through the hole, flips the image upside down, and hits the photographic paper inside, creating a negative image. And that's it. That's the whole technology. There's still a longer process to developing the image itself, but we'll get to that later on in the video. For the base of my camera, I'm using a can because it's light tight and it's already on hand. Other things you need for the camera include electrical black tape. Please ignore the fact that it's red. I do use black tape later on. Digital calipers, black paint and a paintbrush or black spray paint, a scalpel, a needle, and photographic paper. I'm using Ilford satin paper. It's 10 by 15 centimeters and that's perfect enough to fit inside the can. So, first things first, we're going to cut open the top of the can. Careful not to cut yourself in any of the sharp metals. Then wipe the inside dry with some tissue. I then proceeded to paint it all black. I also cut part of another can as a cover for my current camera. I would recommend making a slice so that it stretches and fits over better though. After painting it all black, I added black electrical tape around the sharp edges. And then I added my pinhole. I've now fixed the flap over the hole. This acts as a simple shutter so I can control when light enters the camera. The can is now officially completed. As you know, photographic paper must be used to form an image. Normal paper or anything besides will not work. This pack of 100 cost me £50, meaning each page costs 50p. I'm telling you, do not make the mistake of exposing them to light until after the entire photographic process has been completed. If they are exposed to light before they are used, they are utterly useless. That's it. That's a no second chances. When uploading the paper, do so in a thoroughly dark room, or the least under a red light, where it's safe to be exposed. Here I'm just showing these so you know what they look like prior. The darker one sat out on the kitchen table for a few hours and you can see how dark it's gotten. However, both of these pages are completely unusable and I've developed will both display the same complete darkness. And now I'm just testing the fit to avoid any misalignment. And now, here comes the maths. Before using a pinhole camera, we need to calculate the f-stop. The f-stop determines how much light will enter the camera and how long the exposure needs to be. Because pinhole cameras are very small apertures and no adjustable lens, knowing the f-stop helps ensure the image is properly exposed, neither too dark or too bright, by calculating the correct exposure time. To actually calculate the f-stop, you divide the focal length by the diameter of the pinhole. The focal length is the distance from the pinhole to the image plane, and the pinhole diameter is the size of the hole itself. After calculating the f-stop, we enter into a light meter app, which then tells us the correct exposure time based on the lighting conditions. This helps us capture a properly exposed image. Now with this information, I used my digital calipers to measure the pin, which was 0.5 millimeters, as well as the width of the can, which is 66 millimeters. Altogether, my pinhole camera's f-stop is f132. Unfortunately, not everything went as smooth as planned. After downloading about 5 different apps and trying to put in my f-stop, they just simply didn't accept the number, or they gave me these completely absurd times that create these dark, overly exposed images. I just straight up ended up having to ask ChatGPT, which did give me slightly better results. However, they were still overly exposed and you could barely see anything in the images. After that, I just did what I should have done in the first place and I experimented on my own. The results improved massively and I'm really happy with how they turned out. However, if you feel like you still need to calculate the f-stop, that's perfectly fine as well. But for a smoother process, I'd recommend using a similar sized can that I used, which is 500 ml, and a similar pinhole, and just follow my steps carefully. The only thing I'd ask you to look out for is your weather, because I live in Ireland and here there's not a lot of sunlight, which meant that I exposed my images for longer. If it's really sunny for you, I suggest doing a shorter time. Just like if it's darker, you expose for longer, and just experiment to figure out what works for you. Now, granted the name of this channel is Nighttime is Peak, this part had to be done during the day. Oh, and I forgot to mention this before, I did make a second can as a backup. It's a similar size to the original can and the pinhole is 0.5 mm again. When setting up the camera, I was limited on time, so I had to set them up in places near my house, which was inside of my estate. With that in mind, I just pointed my camera at the objects with the most shape and details. Today, we're turning light into something permanent, and to do that, we need chemistry. To develop the images, you'll need 3 different trays, a 1-liter jug, Ilford paper developer, Ilford paper fixer, tongs, a thermometer, any source of red light. I use this headlamp I got from Amazon, and water. To make it easier to keep track, I used 3 different colored tapes to mark which trays contain what. Yellow contains the developer, white is for the stop bath, which is just water, red is for fixer, and there's also a 4th step, that's just running the image underwater for a couple of minutes. This is developer. I want all my solutions to be around 1 liter for my trays, so I'm using 100 millimeters of this and 900 millimeters of water, mixed 1 part concentrate to 9 parts of water. We need it at 20 degrees Celsius, and that all goes in our yellow tray. The stop bath is just 100% water, so that's 1 liter into the white tray. And this is fixer. It's what makes the image permanent. The dilution is 1 part fixer to 4 parts of water. That's 200 millimeters fixer and 800 millimeters water. Temperature is not super important, but as long as it feels room temperature. And that all goes into our red tray. And for the moment of truth, I'm going to use this already exposed piece of photographic paper to test out the solutions. The most important part of this entire experiment, it has to be done under red light. Into the developer it goes. Development usually takes about 1 to 2 minutes, but the image begins appearing in about 30 seconds. If it starts developing too fast, you can move on to the next part. Now to stop the reaction, you need 30 seconds in water. This freezes the development exactly where it is. No darker, no lighter. And into the fixer, 2 to 3 minutes total, and after about 30 seconds, you can turn on the lights. And this photograph can finally exist in the world. The next section is me explaining my results and how I got them, how long I left them out for, but if you'd rather just see the cool pictures, you can skip to the time on the screen right now. Hey guys, welcome to the results section. Over the last 24 hours, there has been a lot of trial and error, mostly error, but we managed to get there in the end. Basically what happened is I was initially using this can, the one actually made from an energy drink, right? But then because of so much error, I switched to this one, a bigger can. And basically I learned a lot of mistakes and improved over time. This is the first image, which was taken inside, just out of boredom and curiosity. It burned one dot on the photographic paper, which just meant it was underexposed the entire time. The light inside of a house is just not as strong as outside with the sun and the UV rays. So yeah, it would have needed a lot more time and a lot more light to fully have formed. This is the first image taken outside with the can, the first can, and it was just completely overexposed. And basically what happened is, whilst I was using the app, the light meter app, it had given me what I'd say was the wrong timing and instructions. So it had told me, basically how I calculated it was I would have needed 30 minutes of exposure for the image to have formed correctly, but apparently that was wrong. This is the second image taken with the can at 30 minutes. And you can, like, after it was developed, you can literally not see anything at all on the paper. So, like, I mean, in the distance, there's a house, but that's about it. Nothing really. After I introduced the second can, I started getting images like this. This was in the garden. And it's a bit faded now. I think I might have gone a bit wrong in the development process of this one, but it was so sharp. You could see the reflection of the houses on the bin that the can was sitting on. Like, it was so sharp. You can kind of still see it, but yeah. This is another bad one taken with, I think this was the can again, but it started to get better. Here's another can one. I'm not exactly sure what went wrong, probably some light leaking or maybe something up with the development process, but there's that. Here's another one taken with the can, the initial can. This was taken right next to, where is it? These were both in the garden at the same time. So this was taken with the second can and this was taken with the first can. And this is much sharper. I did these around 4 minutes, right? Look how sharp they are. Whereas I did this one around 30 minutes, which was the instructions the light meter app gave me. After that one, that's when I started to estimate for these ones, and I got these kind of images. Here's another one. This one is taken with the initial can. And these two are my favorites, the sharpest pictures. These were both taken with the second can. And you might be wondering why it's just pictures of houses. I think when I was deciding a location, I just thought that these are the sharpest objects. I live in a boring area, do you get what I mean? So these are the most interesting shapes that I could find for the paper. Like, this is the best it gets. Like, you can see how sharp it is. You can see the cars in front of the houses and from the apartments. And right now, all of these images, like you can see the black and white, it's all inverted. Like, these are all negative images right now. I will be changing them and uploading them at the end of this video so you can see how they look inverted. So yeah, that is the end. Moral of the story, and today we found out you can take a picture with a can. I will try to take some more interesting pictures, maybe when I go to the park or something. But yeah, this is what I got so far. Thank you for watching.